This is No Expectations, the podcast where we have unedited, lively conversations about spirituality, Zen Buddhism, holistic living, and everything in between. My name is Andrew. I'm a lifelong Zen Bodhisattva. It sounds much more fancy than it really is. A part-time tracksuit tailor and an author. This is my buddy, Jen.
What's up? I'm Jen. I love a good cup of coffee, a long walk in the woods at a comfortable, moderate pace. And I love having these conversations about kind of living life with no expectations.
Namaste, Jen. How are you?
I'm great. How are you today?
I am fantastic. You know, it's funny that I say that I'm fantastic because last episode, I started the conversation with I'm fantastic and then started a conversation about how crappy I was doing. So I'm not sure if I was lying to myself or just being, trying to be positive thinking so I could get through it. Do
you want to use this as a therapy session?
I do not.
Let's talk about it, Andrew.
Let's not.
Okay.
I feel much better this week, I think. I don't know. Maybe we'll see how it goes. I mean, I could devolve into some sort of crying fest.
Okay.
So.
I've got you.
Are you sure?
I've got you.
Wow. Okay. I think you and I've had a couple conversations, and I'm positive we've had a couple conversations via textual transmission this week about the idea of faith. Yeah. And I may or may not have thrown a George Michael gif into the conversation.
He did. Jeff? It's going to be a rough day today. Yeah, I mean, faith has been rolling around my head for a while. I think what I told you is faith is strange. It's something that we get attached to that makes us feel better about not being in control. I don't know, as someone who was raised Christian in the Christian religious aspect, and detaching myself from that view of faith and finding my own view of faith, it's just a constant reconnection to what do I see faith in, or how do I live in faith? I have faith that things are going to work out fine because I can't control the outcome. But yeah, it's just a weird word that's been rolling through my head.
Why don't we take a moment, think about it, and come back, and we'll talk about what faith is, how it applies in the spiritual framework, and then we'll just, do what we do best. Just riff on it.
Let's go. And we're back for this episode of Andrew's therapy session.
They're all my therapy sessions.
This is a therapy.
We're talking about faith.
Yeah. How do you define faith?
Faith. Faith is the trust in something or someone without any concrete evidence. I don't have to have any empirical data to back it up that I believe something. Mm-hmm. And I think we all have our own. And I think when we started talking about the idea of faith for this week's episode, you and I both raised in Western culture instantly go to the idea of faith equals Christianity. Mm-hmm. And that kind of sets off some trigger alarms maybe, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So talk to me about what faith is in what it meant to you maybe from a Christian standpoint and how it's different now. Yeah.
So from a Christian standpoint, I was just raised that if you don't have faith, that's living in sin. It was kind of you have to live in faith if you want to live in this Christian world. It's how we and our faith is in this God entity or Jesus entity. And I struggled with that a lot in the early stages of my Christian faith because I just felt like, there's a lot going on in my teenage childhood years, and the connection didn't make sense. I have faith that everything's going to work out, but honestly, everything's a shit show right now. So I don't have a lot of faith in this process. So as I grew and I experienced life some, pulling away from that religious aspect was very important to me. I think it was necessary and it was a required part of my spiritual journey because I didn't have faith in that. I had to find faith in something because I believe that faith is a positive outlook on the future, something you can't control. So, at this stage in my life, I have faith. I have faith in the universe that it all works out in its perfect way. I can't control it. I may not love the perfect way. It may be an ugly ending or an unhappy ending. But, if I'm just living in this moment knowing that it's going to work out the way it should, then I'm fine. It removes the need to control the future for me.
Right. Should we use faith as our only guiding rod in life, you think?
No, absolutely not. We also have to act. Right.
I mean, I've known plenty of people in my life that are like, oh, I'm just like a leaf in the breeze. I'm just going to let God do his will. And, that's a different conversation. So that sometimes when we use the word God, we go directly to, a religious connotation, Yahweh, divine one, whatever that is for you. From a spiritual standpoint, I think that God's inside of us.
Yes.
Not to get into too much of it. If God created us, then, the universe created us. There is some of God in us or some of the universe in us and vice versa. So we are, in a way, very godly.
Goddessly.
Potato.
Wow.
Whatever works for you.
Yeah, no, but I think kind of for me, it was empowering in a way to remove that God that is way up there and external and not tangible until I leave this plane of existence and make God me.
Well, not to cut you off, I think in a Christian standpoint, we have this weird relationship with God, and it's kind of stick and carrot, right? Like, if you don't do it this way, you're going to get the stick, So if you do it this way, you get the carrot. And that's not, I don't want to be part of that setup. I don't want to feel like I'm a human being. I get the opportunity to make mistakes, to screw up. And part of that continues for me as a spiritualist, right? I'm like, I understand that there's a whole lot to learn from screwing up. I don't need somebody over my shoulder going, "Hey man, I saw that
sin
going to the lowest rung of hell because of that," right? I'm like, no, so I'm good with that. I'm building my own self-awareness in my process as a spiritualist and learning that I have all the components inside of me to do what I need to do to liberate myself, to transcend all of these things. Do I fall down? Do I, make mistakes? Certainly, who doesn't?
Yeah.
But I'm the sole source of all of that from a spiritual standpoint, right?
And acknowledging that, likewise, I am the sole source of that for me, and everyone that we pass on the street, they are their source for what they need in faith and hope and all those things we need in life.
So if we are the source of things, we should have faith in ourselves. Is that difficult to have faith in yourself?
Yeah, sometimes. You're a colossal failure, Jen. Like you really failed at this the last time you tried it. Why would you try it again? Yeah, the conversations that we have with ourselves personally attack our faith and our belief that
it erodes our ability to believe in ourselves or trust our intuition.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't have that problem? Like we've talked about it before on this podcast about direct disconnection from our intuition. Because we don't have faith in our ability to overcome, right? Like to put ourselves in an uncomfortable situation and see if we can find our way through it because we don't have faith in ourselves.
Yeah.
So what do we need to do to build faith in ourselves?
One, stop talking to ourselves. And in the way that can't without the you
negativity.
Can't do this. Yeah.
I think it's also too so not comparing ourselves to others, maybe take inspiration from others and their journey and their successes or their failures, but not always thinking of, oh, I've got to be exactly like that, because that's impossible, right?
Comparison, yeah.
Just be in yourself, be happy with yourself. Give yourself the opportunity to say, I'm grateful for this challenge, for the opportunity, and maybe on occasion, with a very light touch, pat yourself on the back and go, hey, that wasn't half bad.
Yeah. See?
It's about balance,
See?
right?
Yeah.
It's about balance, because you can't go, you suck. Because we talked about that on another episode. Like, your body starts to figure that out. Like, you're saying to yourself, you suck enough. Your body's like, at cellular level, you suck. I suck. We can't do this.
Yeah.
But you also can't be sitting there going, you the greatest.
Man, it reminds me, my 8-year-old, who's pretty talented lacrosse player for an 8-year-old. Take with that what you want. But this kid goes around calling himself the GOAT. He's like, I'm the GOAT at lacrosse. And I spend my time kicking that pedestal out from under his feet. Like, it's a constant source. But you can see, like, positive self-talk is good, but it can be damaging. Right. And
he'll find his way at some point, that as he becomes he moves ponds, and he's no longer the big fish in that pond.
Yeah.
That there's somebody else who also considers themselves the GOAT.
There are a bunch of goats.
Yeah, everyone's a GOAT.
But you just see, like, I have, my other child, the older one, he does not have that self-glorification about him. He's the opposite. He is like, I suck, I'm not the best on the team, I'm never going to be the best. While the other one is just like, look at me, world, here I come. And, there's just the dichotomy between two kids. And we have those internal conversations in our head all the time.
But it's about showing up and doing that long work, though, to kind of maybe being a little more reserved with it.
Yeah.
Because if you're the GOAT, everyone's shooting for the GOAT. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It feels good. I don't know what as a soccer player, the number 9 was the number that if you wore that was basically a target.
Yeah.
I don't know what the number is in lacrosse, if there is one.
Whatever son my child is. Yeah, he's identified it.
What I'm saying is, if you're wearing that number...
Yeah, wearing that number, yeah.
You got a bullseye in you, everyone's coming for you. But if you're wearing maybe 3 or whatever, 11, maybe not so much, right? But you could still do as much damage and not be the GOAT. I mean, everybody's the GOAT in this day and age, are they not?
I love it. Yeah.
I mean, who isn't? You're all great. Everyone's great. Be happy.
You are the greatest.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what we're talking about, but you're the greatest. Whatever that is, you're the greatest at it.
Well, but that goes into, like, a whole different conversation of, if you look on social media now, or you read books, or you're just looking for, like, these self-help, there's so much fluffy material out there that will, repeat this mantra: I am the greatest, I am the best, I am beautiful, I am capable. And I don't know, something about that.
Well, we've talked about
gets
affirmations.
Under my skin.
We've talked about affirmations like that before, right? Like, I am strong. It'd be like me saying I'm really great at growing hair. It's telling the world I'm not very good at what I want to be good at.
Yeah.
Right? So when I hear affirmations like that, we probably need to reframe that. Like, maybe one day, like, I'll find the strength to fill in the blank.
Yeah.
I'm working towards that.
I'd like thinking, can I take what I need from what I have now?
Yeah.
Like, can I draw strength from what I see as my weakness?
Right. I mean, we can have a long, long conversation about all of those things that you stumbled across, all of those cliches and stereotypes and soft words and gentle Kool-Aids or whatever that is. I'm kind of,
Yeah, there's so much of it out there, and thinking about what we're doing here at No Expectations, trying to set ourselves not necessarily apart, but connect with maybe people who are tired of hearing the fluffiness.
Yeah, my experience in all these years of being around and studying is that everyone has their own... I find that everyone has their idea of what is the right way to be spiritual. And let me tell you very simply, there is no one right way to be spiritual. Like, somebody the other day was posting something somewhere like, we've got a proprietary blend of blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah that help you on your spiritual journey. They also want to take your money. Okay? And if you want to give them your money, that's fine. But there is no direct path. Nobody has it outlined and figured it all out. There's different ways to get to where you are, and everyone has their own way. It's not a straight line. Mm-hmm. And so when we come in here and we talk, I want to talk about it in a very matter-of-fact way. I'm not trying to sell you anything. Let's just have a conversation. And I think that's the problem, is that the culture is telling us with soft words and hushed tones that this is the way to do it, and if we don't do it like this, then we'll be sent to whatever, and we won't transform, and your enlightenment will be stalled on the freeway of life.
It's true.
And this idea that we need to turn into something vanilla and plain, and that's what enlightenment is. Bullshit.
He's about to get the rant card.
Enlightenment offers you the ability to see all of the uniqueness in yourself and be comfortable with that, and show that to the world in any form that you see fit. It doesn't mean you need to grow a long gray beard. It doesn't mean you don't need to take showers for the rest of your life. It doesn't mean that you need to sit and talk like this all the time to every human being, because you are a human being. But when you go through this process of finding out about yourself, you are much freer to share yourself with another human being and make a direct connection with them. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you're going to make a mistake. You're going to not be compassionate that one time. And you're going to recoil and go, okay, that regret where I could have been, maybe I learned something from that.
Yeah.
And grow from that. So it's not a process where you just turn into vapor and disappear into the ether. You go through a process and you enjoy it. And you have fun with this. Mm-hmm.
Amen. Preach it, brother.
Sorry, is it getting hot in here? Is it just me?
That was you. That was you. I think Andrew feels passionate about what does it mean to be spiritual.
I do.
No, I do too. I get it. I mean, that's why we're here. I don't know. For so long, it felt like I had to buy the beads and buy the mat and wear the yoga clothes and take the right yoga classes and do all these things that allowed me to be on a spiritual path. And from where I sit now, someone who's been on this spiritual journey for some time, you can look back and say, wow, none of that was necessary. It was just this belief in myself that I have what I need, and let's start walking. Let's start doing the work. And
faith. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, I talked about it many times. Like, I was talking to some gentleman not long ago, and he's like, I started working this guru, and he gave me these beads and this mantra and these asanas that I need to do and these breathing exercises and this literature I need to read and stuff that I need to buy from him in the supplement form. And I'm like, you don't need any of that. And his eyes got really big, and he's like, what are you talking about? But because my guy, unique name all day, whatever. And he said, I need all this. And I'm like, you don't. You have everything you need right here. Mm-hmm. And he kind of felt bad. But Jen's absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You have everything you need. You just need to cut through all of that other stuff. Mm-hmm. And some of us sometimes, and maybe in parts of my own journey, where I was like, where was my head this whole time? Like, why was I going down this weird tangent of whatever this was, thinking incorrectly? And I look back and I was like, I had everything. Why wasn't I focusing on that? Why wasn't I connecting to that? Okay, that's a waste of time. But then I go, okay, I do have everything I need.
Yeah. But that recognizing that you have what you need takes work, and it takes commitment, it takes discipline, it takes a constant showing up for yourself and looking in the mirror and having conversations with the reflection that you see that clear the path for all this work.
You have everything you need. Just need to add a little bit of faith.
Well, I guess it would be nice.
I don't want to hear the next line.
I know. I'll stop there.
Faith. Give yourself.
Thanks for listening to No Expectations, the podcast. We invite you to come join us and carry on the conversation at noexpectations.me, our new website, where we will be posting blog posts. We will link all of our episodes there, and you can follow us on our social media sites through the website.